Our Meta-Dogma, Part 1 of 2. In a world where dogma can mean anything from inherited principles to rigid certainty, Mystrikism offers a simple promise. Keep your confidence flexible and let ongoing inquiry do the steering. In Mystrikism, our alternative to religion feels less like certain faith and more like skeptical trust. We pride ourselves on questioning everything, especially our own beliefs, even the belief that we shouldn't be believers. This is our paradox. The one thing we take most seriously is not believing any truth is absolutely final. We treat the methods of science as our guiding light, a meta-dogma that teaches us how to question all dogmas, including our own methods. For the sake of clarity and semantics, I'm using dogma in a broad sense as well. Sometimes it simply means a shared doctrine or settled view, not a command to stop asking questions. The version we reject is the frozen kind, certainty that treats scrutiny as disrespect. If dogma feels too loaded, mentally swap meta-dogma for core practice, and the point still stands. Picture a heated debate among a group of mystriks. They sit around a dinner table, each passionately defending a different perspective. Yet their discussions are not just about convincing others they are right, but about exploring the nuances of each viewpoint. It's a vibrant exchange that embodies the essence of Mystrikism, where the journey of questioning is more valued than the destination of absolute truth. The dogma of doubt. Imagine an ethos that preaches, question authority, including this sermon. That's our shtick. Mystrikism isn't built on sacred answers. The sacred part is the questions and the questioning. Doubt is our co-pilot, usurping the popular refrain. We treasure the wisdom of Richard Feynman, who famously lived with and embraced doubt and uncertainty. In simpler terms, we'd rather hold an open question than a closed conclusion. Our steadfast commitment, our meta-dogma, is trust in change. The only constant in science, we believe, is that we'll change our minds with new and better evidence. Karl Popper echoes this humility by reminding us that our knowledge can only be finite, while our ignorance must necessarily be infinite. We accept that our truths are approximate, incomplete, and provisional. To mystriks, skepticism is basically our catechism or hadith. We say, put evidence on a pedestal, but never worship the pedestal. Even the beliefs we cherish are penciled in. Hang a question mark on the things you have long taken for granted, Bertrand Russell advised, a motto in our ethos. If we start certain, we get stuck like dried paint on a canvas. Instead, we champion the habit of puncturing our certainties. We don't want to be like fools and fanatics, always so certain of themselves, as Russell also warned. This isn't false modesty, it's a practical ritual. By ritual, I mean repeated practice. We practice revising our beliefs, checking, testing, refuting. It's less about being contrarian for fun and more like an intellectual reflex. When we spot a bold claim, even one we love, our first instinct should be to check the data or question the logic. In Mystrikism, we rely on data and experiment as our holy texts, but we know that next year's research might tweak every line. That's why we lean on the integrated principles of science, led by the scientific method. It isn't a sacred belief, so if more effective approaches to determine the best current approximation of the objective truth show up, we'll use them. It's like saying, make no permanent truth permanent. If a new discovery contradicts something we assumed, we don't cling to our old truth like a scared child holds a blanket. We adapt. As Feynman put it, we will not become enthusiastic for the fact, the absolute truth of the day, but remain always uncertain. Leave the door to the unknown ajar. In short, our highest commandment is to keep questioning. Mystery as sacred. All this skepticism could feel cold and cynical, like always doubting the sun might not rise tomorrow. But in Mystrikism, we flip it around and revere the unknown. We treat mystery as something almost, but not quite, holy. Mystery isn't something to fear, it's the invitation to wonder.
Neil Armstrong, of all people, captured it well. Mystery creates wonder, and wonder is the basis of man's desire to understand. We see the universe's vast, unexplained frontiers as a playground, not a prison. Each time a big question arises, why is there something rather than nothing? How does consciousness emerge? Instead of hitting a brick wall, we see a horizon egging us on. This reverence for mystery is poetic, but for us, it's also very grounding. I remember a specific moment during a discussion in the break room at work when a colleague asked a particularly tough question. At least for me. In front of everyone, I simply said, "I don't know." To my surprise, the room didn't erupt into awkward silence or skepticism. Instead, there was a nod of understanding, a shared moment that emphasized our philosophy. It's okay not to have all the answers. We might call it scientific awe or rational spirituality. Diane Ackerman unknowingly described life perfectly for Mystriks when she wrote, "It began in mystery, and it will end in mystery, but what a savage and beautiful country lies in between." Translation: life's journey is bookended by the unknown, and that is okay. There is something sacred in admitting, "I don't know," an honest confession, not a deficiency. We don't pretend to have cosmic answers. Instead, we marvel at the fact that the cosmos can be asked questions at all. Because we honor mystery, we avoid the smugness of claiming we've figured it all out. Mystery keeps us humble. The more I learn, the more I appreciate how much we don't know. Like an iceberg drifting through the ocean, what we see above the surface is dwarfed by a vast hidden mass below, a reminder of the enormity of our ignorance. Mystrikism holds that attitude like a sacred text. The cosmos deserves our humility and curiosity, not our arrogance. Our Meta-Dogma, Part 2 of 2. Holding beliefs lightly. Why does this matter? In Mystrikism, our identity isn't attached to specific answers, but to a journey of inquiry. So what happens if our truth ever stumbles? In many religions, that would cause a crisis. In Mystrikism, it's expected. We can change our minds without shame. In fact, we often celebrate it. If the universe convinces me that something I believed is mistaken, I feel gratitude for the lesson. This isn't just personal pride, it's baked into our philosophy. It would feel strange and wrong to say, "This new evidence contradicts my belief, therefore I'll hold on to my belief with irrational strength." Instead, we say, "Okay, I guess I get to update my map of reality again." Holding beliefs lightly gives us the peace of knowing we're adaptable to change, offering a sense of tranquility amid life's constant flux. It means we are more open to learning, more empathetic to differing viewpoints, and more agile in our responses to new situations. This flexibility can improve both our personal growth and our relationships with others, making life not just a journey of inquiry, but also one of continual enrichment. In practical terms, Mystrikism treats moral and social beliefs the same way. Why does this approach resonate? Our core values, like justice or scientific honesty, are steady commitments, not untouchable cosmic facts, and even they stay open to refinement if evidence shows they cause harm. But how we achieve those values is always open to interpretation. Mystriks have one blasphemy, clinging too tightly to old beliefs. Mystrikism's Meta-Dogma also helps me personally. I used to fear change in my beliefs, like flicking off the light switch of certainty. Now I think of change as a friendly tutor. When I learn something new, I often smile and think of an old quip. People who act like they know everything are a great annoyance to the rest of us still learning. The best anthem for us is simply that we never fully know anything. Every answer is tentative, and that tentativeness keeps us alive and searching. Each reconceptualization of what I hold true feels like a vibrant dance where learning leads and humility follows. It's in this dance that I find the strength to continuously explore and expand my understanding. Belief for a Mystrik doesn't look like a thunderbolt from the skies. It looks like a candle in the wind, flickering and resistant to easy answers. This candle shines light, but is always at risk of being blown out by deeper winds of knowledge. We protect this candle because light is worth it. Our belief is like a guiding beacon, a symbol of our commitment to curiosity, evidence, and empathy. This triad is our unspoken credo. Let science guide the head, let compassion guide the heart, and let wonder guide the soul. The meta-dogma of Mystrikism is simple. Never worship any truth as final. The only doctrine is doubt applied justly. As Socrates is often paraphrased via Plato, true wisdom begins by noticing how much you don't know. In that spirit, we walk on. Maybe at some point we will have upset every assumption, disfigured every idol, and still found the world richer and more beautiful. Because even at our most earnest, we accept that it began in mystery and ends in mystery, and that, for us, is a sacred gift.